All right, welcome everyone. This is class 4 out of 4 of this basic business introduction. And so what we've gone through is sampling and then inviting and teaching part 1, and then teaching part 2 and enrolling. Those are the first 3. And then today we're going to talk all about support. So I would love to just start off, for those of you who are live on the call, if you can unmute yourself, maybe you can share some questions you have about once somebody comes on, right? So the last thing we talked about was enrolling, right? Getting somebody to start with their own account. What do we do next? What sort of questions do you have in this area?
So I think it depends where they are, and I think it depends kind of like how well you know them, because you might know someone really well, and it's someone that you've been kind of sampling for a while and tried lots of different things, or it might just be someone that kind of pops up unexpectedly. So it's like, oh wow, I need to get to know this person. I normally ask them like, what kit, if you didn't know what kit they purchased, like, well, tell me what you ordered, tell me what your main health challenges are, what got you interested in the oils, or how did you hear about doTERRA? And then that's kind of a starting point for really like building that relationship.
Awesome. Yeah. So some people might need some tips on how to build that relationship, right? Not everyone is natural at that. I know sometimes it took me a long time to feel comfortable building that relationship, especially with somebody that you don't know. Okay. So building relationship, awesome.
Yeah, building relationships.
So good at that.
What else? I think like maybe asking them where they're at, like in terms of, do they want to be a happy product user? Are they, potentially interested in sharing the oils? Like, is it something they would recommend to other people they know? And then, that might lead on to, other conversations about the other opportunities that there are with doTERRA.
Awesome. So somebody might be wondering, like, how do you naturally kind of bridge that conversation, right, in a wellness consult to kind of naturally bridge that? Awesome. Agata, do you have any questions? I want to make sure that we hit all your questions.
Like a lady today asked in a big group what size of diffuser she should buy because she doesn't know anything about oils. And actually I enrolled her, and I always thought that I give a good signal to people, like, please ask me any questions if you need any help. And I ask them, I try to follow up, is everything okay? Are you happy with the oils? So actually she a little bit doesn't know anything about oils. Like, I was fine. So I'm not sure. There's something I must be missing, obviously.
Okay. Yeah. So how do we, there's a fine balance, because we want our people to rely on the resources. In our WeChat group, it's like such an incredible resource for people. But we also want to make sure that people are getting the basics as well. So how do we teach the basics and then support people that way? Okay, awesome. Well, luckily, my friends, we are going to cover all of this today. Hello, Gigi. And so if you're watching the recording, dig in, get out your daily mentor calls script. You can follow along. I'm going to show this in a minute. You guys can pop in with questions all you want. I am teaching, let me share screen here. I'm going to teach right from this daily mentor call script. I really want to show you guys that everything is here for you. And what we're really doing, what I'm doing in this 4-part series, is just walking you through this 4-part system so that you know where people can pop in. So here's an example. If you remember, the first step is sample, and then teach, and then enroll, and then support. Well, guess what? If someone has been buying essential oils on Taobao or Amazon, or buying them from a friend, you don't need to sample them. You can just start with education or teaching and then help them get enrolled, right? If somebody has been using oils forever, but they haven't been buying them through their own account, maybe they're just ready straight for enrollment. right? Maybe somebody is enrolled a long time ago on another team and you need to just bring them over into our team because they're not getting support. Well, guess what? We're going to start right at support. So as long as you know this pipeline, when you're getting to know the people who are dropping into your pipeline, then you know exactly the next step for them. You know, you don't have to start everyone at sampling if people are already past that. So this last piece here of support is really, really, really important. And here, I love how she sets this up for us. The end target of our business is twofold. One, and first and most importantly, is we want to help people change their health, right, through the power of essential oils. And two, if we're doing this as a business and not a hobby, right, we really, our goal is to create this long-term residual income with doTERRA. Now, 85% of the people that enroll with us are simply going to be customers. And that's incredible, right? That is such an incredible customer base. We don't have to worry about, you know, builders choosing to not build and then they take an entire organization with them, because most of our people are going to continue to order these products month after month simply because they work. But we have to use a system that's going to help people who have already said yes, right? They've already enrolled with their first kit to be purchasing oils for a long time, right? If we don't do that, then we're going to be missing on an 85% of our potential income, okay? Now, return customers, this is where the residual income happens. And you can see that in my organization. You can see it in any organization that's been around for a number of years. You know, if I put my hands up at this point and said, you know what, I'm done, I don't want to build anymore, at this point, it would continue to build underneath me and grow, simply because people are already educated, they're already plugged in, and they're already enrolling and using the oils and using the system for LRP and retaining their customers, right? So we need to, the first stop when somebody enrolls is a wellness consult. And that wellness consult is so important. I cannot underestimate how important the wellness consult is. And we're going to walk through how to do a wellness consult. And you'll see it's call 29, okay? So you should go back and you should listen to call 29 if you really want to nail a wellness consult. There's a couple of key elements to this, okay? The first one is we're going to look up their health challenges. Now, let's back up a little bit and talk about how do we encourage people to follow through with their wellness consult. I have a couple of teammates who say, you know, people get their kits and then they just won't show up. They won't get back together again for a wellness consult. And here's what I do. I always book appointment from appointment. So when I am enrolling somebody, let's go back a step. When somebody RSVPs for a class, what I'll say is, that's awesome. Come to the class on Monday. Listen, after Mondays, my schedule really books up with follow-up calls. I want to make sure that I prioritize you in my schedule. Let's get your follow-up call on the schedule before the class even begins, right? So that way I know they're going to come to the class on Monday. And let's say that Wednesday morning is our follow-up call, okay? So Wednesday, we go through their needs. We figure out what kit they're going to start with. We might help them get started right then. And then at that point, I'm going to set up their wellness consult, okay? I'm going to say, listen, your kit's going to arrive in 2 days or 7 days or whatever, however many days in your market. Let's go ahead and set up your wellness consult for, you know, the day after we think your oils are going to arrive. Okay? So we're really helping people, leading people from appointment to appointment to appointment. This is how people don't fall off, right? You're busy, people are busy, they get their kit, it sits there, and then sometimes people don't even open it because they don't know what to do with it, right? And so we really need to keep this wellness consult appointment and make sure that we're meeting with them in person if possible, opening all the oils, creating some blends, and making sure that they have a plan for their essential oils that they've purchased. And I'm going to show you how I have just very recently begun helping create a daily plan for my people. And then of course you can have my document. Oh, I think I have something. You can have my document, of course, and you can make it your own. So what we want to do is we want to look up health challenges. Now, you might have an Essential Life book. You might gift them the Essential Life app and teach them how to use the app. I love gifting the app. It's basically, I use my Fast Start bonus from enrolling somebody. gift them that app, and then of course teach them how to use it. And looking up their health challenges is a great way to teach them how to use this. The other thing that I think is really, really important in a wellness consult, guys, is, you know, many of you on the call, you've been doing this for years, right? And so sometimes we're tired, we forget how awesome it is that people are getting their first kit, and we might not bring the energy that we need to bring to this wellness consult. So I want you to get your energy to a 10 out of 10 for these wellness consults. And when they're opening the oils, I mean, just be so excited. Like the first time you open your oil, right? Like sometimes it's hard for us to get back up to that level, but this is so exciting, guys. It's their first kit, and they are going to, I mean, it's going to change their life. Y'all know what happened with your first kit, right? I mean, it was the gateway to changing everything, right? Especially for the four of us live on this call. So it's magic, and we need to bring the magic. And some people don't even think it's cool. They don't even open their kit. And you know what? When someone sits down with me with their wellness consult, I'm like, oh, open the lavender, oh, the frankincense, open the frank, you know, because it is so exciting, and we need to bring that energy to our wellness consult. Okay, so we're going to look up their health challenges, and we're going to get some oils. Now, include the oils that they have, and then include oils that they don't have. Because one of the things that we're doing is we're helping develop their first LRP or their first and second LRP. So don't overwhelm, right? You might bring some roller bottles, or if you're doing this remotely over Zoom, you might want to send them some roller bottles, so that I have everyone make a flume roller, right? That way, in one go, they have used frankincense, lemon, oregano, on guard, and melaleuca. In one go, they have seen that they have used all 5 of those oils in one blend. And then that's part of their daily routine. Like, oh, that's cool, right? This is a really useful kit, right? They've already used 5 oils. And then we might make maybe a pain roller. Maybe it's lavender, frankincense, and deep blue, right? Or maybe it's a sleep roller, and it's just the frankincense and the lavender, right? Maybe it's an allergy roller, and it has lemon, lavender, and peppermint, right? You want them to be mixing. And it's so funny, guys, because I just did this last week, and you know, when we make up rollers, we're like cracking it open, you know, I mean, I can make a roller in a minute, right? But I forget when someone doesn't know what they're doing. They're like, do I just drop it in? You know, I mean, it really is so new, and it takes someone, you know, 20 minutes to make a flume as opposed to us doing it in 2, but it's just getting them accustomed to actually feeling confident in making their own remedies. Okay, now we're going to then move into daily protocol. And so you're going to have already found out a bunch of ailments that affect them, right? Because you're already going to be talking health challenges. Okay, then we're starting to make a plan. So help them write down what time of day they use their products, and then including how to use them. Now let me show you what I have started, and I've only done it with the last 3 wellness consults. And before I show you, let me just edit this for privacy. Hold on. You need something? You need something? Okay. I'm not, but you cannot go on electronics. Oh, you can read here. All right, so let me show you this. Let me just, I wanted to make sure that was private. Okay. So this is an Excel document. I'll show you the pretty ones. I got pretty after I did the first one. So this is a woman, let's call her B, and she was working on stress. So she had the top 10, and then she got a lot of the stress oils. You can see forgive and peace, balance, lavender, peace, it gives us adaptive. Okay. Her wellness consult was on the phone because she's up in a different city, and it took 2 hours. So I'd sent her some things in advance. Then we got on the phone. She made a flume roller, okay, and then she made a, she also made a sleep roller. Yeah, so here's the sleep roller she made down here. And this literally was it's a month-long tracker. And what's been so fabulous about this, I save it as a PDF and I send it to them on WeChat. They print it out, and then I'll follow up each week. And we have really solid data to see how someone is developing with their habits, right? Habits take time. You know, again, those of us watching on the call and probably listening to the recording, you know, we already have so many oil habits that I think we forget how hard it is to create a habit, right? So this is like, oh, so this week, I think she had 3 lemon water days where she remembered. And I was like, awesome, let's see if we can get up to 4 this next week. And then she's tracking her stress levels because that's one of her biggest things. So she'll track them morning and night. And she was noticing that she really loved lavender peace and peace. And the days that she used those more regularly, she was experiencing less stress. Fabulous, right? Let's look at somebody else. This is a woman named C. You'll notice lemon water, that doesn't change. Flume, that doesn't change. Peppermint, she has a hard time waking up in the morning. That doesn't change, it's easy. Frankincense, she has a thyroid challenge. So she's gonna put it under her tongue and then a drop on her neck for thyroid. And she also made an allergy roller. Okay, so that's gonna go, she wanted it in the capsules. Then she made an anxious feelings blend with me, a head tension blend. Now she was at my house. So she got a little extra adaptive balance and copaiba, right? That's okay, no worries. And then she goes to the gym in the afternoons. And so she has a deep blue massage with some coconut oil after her gym because she was experiencing some pain. What does she do at night? She has a little bit of trouble sleeping. So she's gonna elevate her body temperature with a good hot shower. Flume again, lavender oil, frankincense, and diffuse. She had that diffuser booklet. And she's going to do the allergy relief again. And then she has a healthy habit. She's been having too much cheesecake, she said. So it was just how many days this week did she have cheesecake? Just a fun kind of healthy habit check-in. Okay. So really, once you have this down, so as we were talking, I was like, okay, let me just edit this. And then I go ahead, well, I actually printed it because I was at home. But then you can just PDF this and send this off. And then again, you're helping somebody to really develop those daily habits. And you're following up each week. Okay, listen, I'm gonna follow up with you each week, and we're gonna go through this. This is nothing stressful. This is not me looking over your shoulder, but this is just a way for you to make sure that you are getting the most out of your purchase. Right? It comes down to people, they have invested a lot of money in these oils. And it's our job to make sure that they're using them and make sure that we're making it easy for them to use them, and that there's a little bit of accountability, at least for this first 4 weeks, so that we can help them see benefits, right? Yeah, Kate, great to have something for them to use and track, right? So there really can be kind of a generic one with just the top 10 oils and how do you use that? But if someone has digestive issues, you might be doing daily digest zen, right? If somebody has more muscle issues, you might be doing more daily deep blue, daily frankincense, that sort of thing. So I will send this to everyone, and you certainly can adjust this. You might want to make this one colored because it's way more fun colored. This is a woman named A. And so again, lemon, flume, peppermint, and frank, those are kind of my standard basics. And then she had a goal of no caffeine past noon, which is great. And then when we checked in, she was loving the diffuser and the sleep roller. She was sleeping way better. Okay. This is also really good because people can see, oh, these things do work, right? There's so much skepticism. Even me, you know, I'm still skeptical. Like, is this in my head? And then I'm like, oh no, like this stuff really does work. So I've been really encouraged by this. You can totally have this, and you can edit it however you want. And so that is really this daily protocol. Now, what Elise does is she talks highly about the LLV. Now, we all know that the LLV is absolutely incredible. Unfortunately, there is an added challenge of getting the LLV in China. So Kate, for those that you're bringing on in Australia, you know, Gigi, you've got Brazil and Hong Kong that have ready access to the LLV. I don't know if in Poland, Agata, you have the LLV, but you're gonna want to talk about the LLV if you are able to access it readily. China's a little bit more complicated, but we do know that the LLV is such a powerhouse product, and it's a 60 PV monthly investment. Now, what I have people do a lot in China is I'll say, okay, every other month, order 2 and order it on the HWG website. That's 120 points, and then put a Mito 2 Max or put a Terrazyme, you know, put something else with it so that you can, if someone's doing 125 point LRP, they're going supplements 1 month, oils the next, supplements 1 month, oils the next, and that keeps them getting their LLV each month. Also on a 200 point month. Man, HWG is awesome on a 200 point month. I have saved my HWG order for December because I'm hoping that we have another 200 point month, because then you can get 4 LLV or 3 LLV and another couple supplements and be stocked up. So she talks here about LLV, and really, I mean, we really do want everyone on LLV because it's such a game changer in terms of energy and mood and pain and inflammation. Now, in China, we do not have this money back guarantee. So be careful. Don't promise that because we don't have it in China, but every other market does. Okay. So we're going to talk a little bit about LLV. You can say, hey, listen, we do an entire supplements class that you need to come to the next time it's going around because it's just amazing. Okay. Then the next thing we need to make sure that people know about is the LRP. Okay. So it's like frequent flyer miles, but you get 10 to 30% back instead of the usual 2%. It's the smartest way to stay consistent with your wellness protocol, right? You've already made the protocol. Now we're going to talk about LRP and how we can switch it up. Great way to try new products. You can earn shipping rewards, and then there's the free oil of the month. So this is where we want to talk about the free oil of the month. Here, I also talk about 0, 50, and 125. Those are the numbers for points that I make sure people know about so that they can really maximize. And then I always make sure people know, listen, you can do 50 this month, 125 next month, 200 the next month, 50, 70, whatever it is, you can always flex. But just make sure that on the first of the month, you're looking at the product of the month and saying, do I want it? Do I not? If I want it, then I'm going to be ordering 125. Okay. And then I'll always say, all right, here's a little quiz. Why would I go when someone orders 124 points? Right? And they're like, what was it about 125 again? And so I'm like, right, 125, you get the free product. So it just took a little bit more planning, and this person would have gotten a free product. I'm like, oh, okay. 125 free product. This takes a little bit to remember, and this is why we talk about it in every continuing ed class, because these numbers, again, when they say yes to doTERRA, they are saying yes to an entire new world, aren't they? Right? So it's just like little steps, bit by bit by bit. And then you want to make sure that on their, second week or third week, you're sending them maybe an image about the LRP as a reminder to make sure that they are getting, maximizing their purchases. Then what we want to do is we actually want to go into their account and help them set up their first order. Now in China, if someone's with me, I will get their app sorted for them, the doTERRA app, and I'll connect it to their account because I can read it. And then I'll teach them. All you have to do is push this middle button. Okay, now you do it, right? And then let's set up your first order. And oh, look, all those points are adding up. See the PV? That's what we want to be paying attention to, right? And so you're really walking somebody through step by step by step, so that when they go back through and make their first order, they're like, oh, right, watch the PV, right? So if you're in a market where you have a recurring LRP, you want to set up their first one and then show them how to change it and edit it, okay? And then they have this wellness plan. So you want to set up that LRP based on the month 1. Let's say someone has thyroid issues. Well, they have frankincense and peppermint in their top 10 kit. So maybe they want to pick up myrrh, right? Maybe lemongrass, maybe clove in the next month. Those would be 3 other thyroid oils that you would have found in the app. Okay. So then you're going to put those in their cart and have that maybe set as their first month LRP. Okay. Now this is interesting. Tell me what your priorities are, right? Obviously LLV and what else? So she really stresses, LLV. And again, if you're in a market where that's easy, man, go for it, because we know how life-changing it is for people. And then use the LRP kits if they match their needs. You can use the targeted wellness kits if they match their needs now in other markets. And then, oh, this is interesting, give them a book if they set up their LRP. I've never seen that before. So yeah, you could gift somebody something if they set up their LRP. Maybe that's what we need to do. Maybe we need to gift the app when they set up and run their first LRP. That's an interesting idea, isn't it? Okay, now they understand the LRP, or at least they've gotten an idea. They've set it up. They know how to log into their account. Okay. They have maybe heard about the LLV. We've got their daily protocol in place. They've looked up health challenges in a book or in an app. Now, what we're going to do is we are going to make sure they are invited to continuing education. And here's how I've reached this. All right. Listen, I know you have learned a lot today, and there is so much to learn, and this might feel really overwhelming. I totally get that. Listen, we teach these incredible continuing education classes live on Wednesday evening, 7 p.m. China time. What it's going to do is it's going to break down essential oil use in 8 different really pertinent topics to your life, right? Helping you level up your wellness in these 8 areas. Things like pain management, sleep, stress, emotional support, toxin-free living, women's health and hormones. I mean, we really cover it all. And it's great because it's in bite-sized chunks so that you can learn all about your oils and how to maximize these oils in a really sustainable, fun way, surrounded by community, right? So does that time work for you? Right, you want to see if that time slot is available for them. If they say, oh no, every Wednesday night is date night with my husband, let's say, okay, that's okay, right? I also have these all recorded, and then when you go through them and you finish all 8 of them, then I will give you an awesome prize. Now, if you know what your prize is or gift is, you can tell them. But we really, continuing education, guys, is dwindling. And like, we have 68 team enrollments this month alone, and there are very, very, very few new faces on continuing education. So either we're no longer meeting the need, or we're not talking it up. We're not, I don't know. I don't really know quite what it is. I think it's probably time for another survey, just to figure out why it's so, I mean, we used to have 20, 25 women on continuing ed when it first started. So I am totally open to suggestions on that front, because really continuing education is really an incredible gift that we can give to our people. And the gift that they give back is finding 5 or 6 oils, 4, 5, whatever oils that they can't live without, right? I know that continuing education did that for me. I'll tell you, that women's health and hormones class changed how I take care of me as a woman, right? I will never go without my women's health and hormone oils again. So yeah, here's what you can do. Oh, sorry. So you can invite to continuing education. We also have the WeChat group or the Facebook group. We want to make sure people are feeling connected. And again, this is where you can talk about, I am here for questions. You know, we're going to set up a time each week. I'm going to check in each week with you to see how you're doing. But listen, I'm not always by my phone. So please make use of these groups. This is a perfect group for a newbie like you. No question is too silly, right? So definitely use this group. And I love our WeChat group. I love it. I think it's where people kind of stretch their leadership. They stretch their knowledge sharing. They're learning something and then they're sharing it. It's really a beautiful group. And then if your person is hosting a class, then you want to talk about what that looks like here. And you can use the share guide from doTERRA and talk about, go through the share guide. Who's going to host, who's going to do what, who's going to invite, who's going to do the samples, who's going to teach, are they going to help teach, all of those things. This is also a place too where you could ask them to host a class. You know, if they're really into it, you can get a feel with wellness consults. This is where you're beginning to build that relationship like Kate was talking about. You know, you have shown through this process, you're probably maybe 40 minutes in now, 45 minutes in, depending if it's in person or online. You know, hey, you seem super into this. You know, check this out. Referrals. I can't tell you how happy I am that you have these amazing oils in your life. I know a lot of people have health challenges, right? And I would and wish that they could address them naturally. Who do you know that I should reach out to? I'd love to help anyone that you have come to mind. Or you seem super into this, like, would you want to host a class for me and bring your friends and family just like the class that you went to? You know, this is where you can kind of gauge where do you go next. But you want to leave this wellness consult with the next step for you, right? Maybe they have friends or family that they would want you to talk to, or maybe they are willing to host a class for you for a gift. Like, that would be amazing. You can talk about hostess gifts here if you're feeling it. Some people, they're more closed off. I was telling someone the other day, we do business really oddly in the worldly sense. Like, who was I talking to? Like, when you buy an Apple computer, no one's calling you in 2 days saying, hey, did you open it? Did it turn on? How is it feeling? You know, how did you use it? You know, no one's doing that. The level of customer service and care that we offer is weird to some people. It takes time because people are skeptical, aren't they? They're like, man, this Allie chick, she is like on me about my personal habits. Right? Because I want to make sure that, I mean, some people spend 4,000 RMB on a first kit. It's my job to make sure that they're getting it done, right? That they're using them and really benefiting. So sometimes it just takes people some time to get used to how caring and how service-centered we do things. Okay, and if you haven't had that experience yet, you'll probably get the wary customer, you know, at some point. And you know what? You just do you, right? You just keep showing up, keep doing your job, and either they come along or they don't, but that's okay because you just show up transparent and authentic to you. Okay. Now, here's a little bit more on continuing education. This is a great script you can use with continuing education. I kind of rambled off mine, but this one is awesome to really kind of emphasize that this is free for them. You know, that some teams charge for continuing ed, right? And this is free for them. Like, that's awesome. You know, our team is incredible. But then of course, don't drop them at the doorstep. You want to show up with them, right? Even if it's just for the first couple, even if you've gone through continuing ed a bazillion times, even if you teach continuing ed, you know, show up and be present with your customers. Okay. And then, yeah, this is just a little bit more on continuing education. So Kate, we talked about building relationship. It really, by this time, if you have sampled, educated, enrolled, and now you're at supporting, you know, every contact really builds that relationship. And when you show up and when you do what you say you're going to do, you know, that also builds that relationship, kind of one interaction at a time. How do you move into naturally sharing? That's kind of here where you talk about next steps. If they're hosting a class, you can talk about it here. The other thing that you could review here is, hey, do you remember in that class when I talked about that there are 3 different types of people? There's the happy product user, there's the person who wants to share it with their friends and family, and there's the person who really wants to build a business, like I'm building an organization. You know, where do you see yourself? Where do you see yourself now? I want to make sure that I support you in the way that you are looking for support. You know, that is very natural in a wellness consult. You might have to practice it, right? Until it kind of rolls off your tongue a little bit. But I find that in the wellness consult, I make sure that I at least ask the question, because you've not placed people yet, typically when you're doing a wellness consult. So you need to know, guys, if they're a 2 or a 3, you don't want to put them in a customer position on your 6th level if they want to build, right? And you have to invite them into it. And if someone goes, oh, I'm just a 1, you say, awesome. I'm going to put you with a leader that is going to help me support you to reach your health goals. And then you move on, right? You don't belabor, you don't, but this would be so good for you. You just move on and jot them down as a 1. And then I'll say, listen, that's awesome. If that ever changes, just let me know, right? Keep it open for people to change their mind. And again, you're going to be following up with them with their daily wellness plan for a month. And so you can always check in at the end of 4 weeks and say, hey, is that still the same? Right? Just checking in, 1, 2, or 3. Has anything changed? You never know. Okay. And then Agata, to your question, teaching the basics. Teaching the basics is really the, it's the I got oils, now what class. And so I actually have not been good about using that recording to send to people. But really, you're teaching a lot of the basics in this wellness consult. You are getting them to open their fractionated coconut oil, and you're going to teach a little bit about fractionated coconut. Oh, I love fractionated coconut, right? Just like we talk about in the Oils Made Easy class. It's not, it doesn't have like a thick film. It's really great for the skin. It helps carry the oil in a little bit deeper. I always use my fractionated coconut oil. So there's a little bit on the basics. If someone gets a diffuser, you're going to have them turn it on. Okay, go get some water, right? Get your diffuser. Yep, push that button. Oh, yeah. Is the steam? Yep, awesome. That's it. You did it. Right, so tonight, put that by your bedside and put some lavender in it. Right, the things that we think are so obvious are learned. Like, we learned how to do all this stuff. So really be quite obvious during this wellness consult. And then, any other basics that come up, like, when you're making your rollers, it talks a little bit about dilution. It naturally comes up. And I'll say, hey, do you see how like you have maybe a third of it as essential oil? That's a good maximum. Like, I don't think you need to go much more than that, right? 30% of essential oil and then fill the rest with coconut oil. That's usually a pretty good ratio for an adult, right? Those sorts of things. So then it's not exact, but they're getting an idea, right? They're able to gauge kind of some usage there, some of the basics. Okay. So that covers your questions. That covers the content here with support. Does anyone have any questions or comments? Oh, Kate, that's right. Investing time into building your relationship and trust with that person. Right. Checking in, sharing resources, right? Asking how they're doing. Absolutely. All of those. Anyone else have any questions, comments?
I think one of my only sort of things that I find hard is that once my people have their China accounts, they're really reluctant to open their GACs. And even though I've, told them all the benefits and things like that, but they don't want to go that extra step. And I'm trying to work out, like, what is it that puts them off? Is it that there's an annual membership fee, or there's an upfront account setup fee? And I explain, like, that's how it is. If they started their account, their first doTERRA account in their home country, they would have had to pay that fee. It's just that in China there is no account setup fee. So yeah, but because what's happened as the result of that is that it's caused lots of problems down the line when we then have to do it later on. Whereas if they did it just straight away, just got it set up, I feel like things would be so much more smooth, I guess, moving forwards. And then if people move countries and whatever, it wouldn't be such a big deal because they take their account with them, they continue their LRP. It's
That's a good idea. I wonder if that process can be in the wellness consult.
Yeah, maybe add a little section.
Right?
Yeah.
Like if
what are the benefits? Why should you do this? It's just a simple form that you fill out. We can help you lodge it, and help with the follow-up. Yeah.
But I wonder if it's because people have to fill out a form and it's not online and they have to either print it or do it. Like, I wonder if you literally sat there and took their information down, if that would I don't know, just trying to make it a little bit easier.
Because they have to give credit card details too. You know, I think
But
that's something that
credit card
people.
on the form anymore. US won't.
What's that?
They can't do credit card on the form anymore.
Oh, really?
doTERRA has to call them. Yeah.
Oh, really? Because the Australian form still has, it still has that on it.
What I usually do, even when there was a credit card requirement, I would write in that space and saying, please call for the credit card information.
Oh, okay, that's a good idea.
Because I don't like, I wouldn't want to send that on an email.
Yeah, that's right. And then they know that they're going to get a phone call from a doTERRA customer service representative in their home country.
Yeah, they're pretty good about that.
I wonder too if it's not worth even sending it up to DocuSign. Like, if you take your information and fill it out on the form, and then we ran it through DocuSign, and then they just had to sign. Because right now you're not in China, so you can't get like because then that's all online, and all they have to do is click their email and DocuSign, and then you would have a completed document that you could send up.
Yeah, it's definitely worth exploring.
That's an interesting idea. I think we should be opening.
Yeah, and I think too, it's hard, like, because some of my people, they've been with me for 2-3 years now.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden it's like, oh, hang on, I'm moving. And I'm like, yep, so let's get that done before you move. And then it just doesn't happen. And then it's all of a sudden, then they drop off LRP.
Yep.
That does significantly affect my my organization.
Yep.
And then it's like, okay, sort of trying to get them going again.
It's the same thing too when people begin to share and they're not set up.
Well, I had that, and I had a lady, and her account was inactive, and she'd moved countries, and it was just challenging. And her cousin wanted to enroll, and I said, this is kind of why we tried to do this a year ago.
Yeah.
So and then it becomes very time important for them then.
Yes.
But it wasn't time important for them, whereas I kind of had that vision, like, you will get to this point at some stage where you will want to have your home account open.
Yes.
And it's actually easy to do it at a time when you're not time pressured. When you have the time, to do the form, make sure the account's set up right, so that, if and when, you can hit the ground running.
I wonder if it's one of those things where, okay, the next step is.
Next steps. Yeah.
The next step is.
That's right. You have your China account, or you have your account, where you are, but what about if you wanted to send something to a friend as a gift?
The next step is to set up your global account, and I will gift you a peppermint. That'd be worth it. Right?
Well, that's right. It's like that covers the cost. Like, they get that anyway with their renewal.
Yeah.
But if you give them something up front that kind of, is like, sweetener for the fact that there's a $35 US initial account setup fee. It's like, okay, what would you like? Would you like resources? Would you like oils? Would you like, to go this next step?
Yeah. But you run a peppermint through, or you run a, whatever through, and it's volume going through your organization, which is awesome. Right? So
that's right. Yeah.
I think just I have never prioritized that in the beginning, but you're absolutely right, because then when people begin to share, or like, oh, my mom wants some, and it's like, you're not set up.
Well, that's right. Even with this Christmas cash, I was like, reaching out to people who I thought, like, this is perfect. But I'm like, if you want to go for this, you have to get this form filled out ASAP, and we have to get it in. And maybe even that put people off because they're like, oh, you know what, it's too hard, and you know, I'll leave it. It's like, well, you're missing out. Like I know what you're missing out on. You don't even know what you're missing out on.
Yeah.
But it's so awesome, and you're missing out.
Yeah. So doing it before it's urgent, that's a good idea. And it's
just, like, you know, the worst thing would be if people start sharing and they're not even set up to earn commission. Oh my God.
Yeah.
You know.
Awesome. So we can all, I like the idea of gifting an oil. Maybe it's an oil that's not in the top 10, right? If you just know that it needs to be somewhere around the 20 PV mark, right? Give some options. I like the idea of using DocuSign, like because you can take down their information, run it through DocuSign, and then all they have to do is DocuSign it. That's it. Just click through. So why don't we take this offline, Kate, and let's get like a protocol that's easier than the bit.ly link now, because that's designed for the customer side. Let's do one for the leader side and have the leaders organize this a little bit more proactively. I like the idea. All right, ladies, anything else? Any other comments, questions? I'm getting a thumbs up from Kate.
Thank you, Ali. Can you share that the form that you do the wellness consult?
Yeah, do you want it?
You personalize it for each person.
I do. It is called Daily Routines. I'll drop it here. This is the one that is here. I'll put it in Zoom for you.
I love that that document is amazing. I love it so much.
I know.
I'm so glad. Well, there it is. It's in the Zoom. And then for you guys, if you're watching the recording and you haven't seen the document yet, just let us know and we'll get you the document. And it just has 3 samples right now. And I mean, it'd be so good if like people were like, here's a thyroid routine, here's a top 10 routine, like share them, right? Like let's share these resources so that we can simplify our work. Many hands make light work. All right, ladies, have a wonderful.
Thank you, Ali.
Thank you for calling on. If you're watching the recording, we love you, even though you're not live. I know it's
Thanks,
important.
Ali. Great to see you online, girls.
Yes.
Good night.
Having an awesome month.
Good night.
6 more days to go.
Yep.
And a month.
Thank you, Andy.
You're
Thank
welcome.
you.
Wish you had.
Ladies. We'll talk soon.
Night.
Bye.